1 month in Morocco, more specifically Casablanca, and I have to say it was amazing. I had a blast, the people treated me like family, and I felt at peace while I was there. So today I'm gonna be breaking down some of my expenses and showing you some of the experiences I had while there. So if that's something that interests you, be sure you stay tuned. Now for those of you guys unfamiliar with Casablanca, Casablanca is not only the largest city in Morocco, which is in North Africa, but it's also the economic or business center of the country as well. Now it sits on the coast, right overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. Now when it comes to my experience, I actually felt quite at peace in Casablanca. Everyone was extremely friendly, extremely nice, and always willing to help if I was lost. Anytime I asked for directions somewhere, it typically turned into somebody walking me to the exact location, and it kind of sparked a conversation along the way, which was really dope. Now I have to say I had to be a little careful with talking to women in the streets, especially because it is pretty much 99% Muslim. So you can't go around just trying to spit game everywhere left and right. So for me, it was like, especially whenever I see somebody, especially if I need directions, I'll ask whoever I see. And I did notice that sometimes with women, depending on who I asked, they were a little more apprehensive whenever it came to just speaking to me in general. Morocco's a lot more liberal than other Arabic countries, but there still is a little bit of that kind of, people are they get a little on the edge whenever you kind of stop them on the street to talk to them, especially women. Now, when it comes to the rent, this was one of the best Airbnbs that I had ever had these last 2 years traveling. It was amazing. I actually shot a video inside of the Airbnb, breaking it down a little bit more about my experience. And this is when I had just gotten there. So I think at this point I've been there about a day. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and roll that clip for you guys so y'all can see my Airbnb, and I can jump into a little bit of the pricing on that as well. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Casablanca house, baby. This is the Airbnb I got. I'm gonna walk you guys through it so y'all can kind of take a look and get an idea of what all it comes with. Now it's a lot smaller than the Airbnbs I've actually been to before in the past. You can see here, this is the kitchen area. Okay, normally I usually get a couple bedrooms in case someone wants to come over. This one was a little smaller, but it was as nice as what I was looking for, right? So this is kind of like the area if you want to eat, but I have a little, if you can see that thing over there, it's kind of like an eating board or something, so I can eat here really anywhere I want to, right? And so this is the kitchen area, or the dining room area. And what's dope is I have all of these have these blackout, it's kind of like blackout curtains, but they're called like, I think, blackout shades. I'll press it here. Just press this button, and then you'll see over here, things starting to go down, right? So super dope. I have it in pretty much all the outside windows. Make sure it's going back up. Okay. And so yeah, that's pretty dope. I'll show you what the view looks like over here. It's a pretty small Airbnb, nothing like super crazy. Okay. View looks like this outside. So nothing too crazy. I'm actually in a really good area. I'm in the Marif area. I literally just got here yesterday, so I'm probably saying it wrong. I haven't explored much yet. Literally got here last night. Hasn't even been 24 hours. So I will explore more and probably tell you more later on. But this is the bathroom area. Now I just took a shower, so that's probably why it looks a little moist. So that's it. This is the bedroom, and the bedroom's a good size. It's really nice. I like the way it's nice and clean and everything, which is perfect for kind of what I typically look for. And this is another dope feature. Let me open this here so y'all can see this, okay? While it's opening, I want to tell y'all some of the numbers. So I paid about $1,100 for this. I'm staying here for, I think it's about 34, 35 nights. And yeah, like literally in the best area of Casablanca, or one of the best areas of Casablanca. And so, yeah, it's been exciting. I've been trying to get to Morocco for years now, so it's been crazy. And then look at this. Yep, got my own little kind of terrace patio kind of area, which is really dope. And here I have essentially everything. Like I got out here, I have got a little washer too if I want to do a laundry, a dry rack. This is my suitcase. Seating area, so it's like a area where you can come and chill, especially in the morning when it's a little more fresh. Even right now, it's not that hot. It's kind of like I'll probably say 70s, 80s. It probably high 70s, so it's nothing too crazy. But yeah, so that's pretty much the house and what it looks like, man. I'm really pumped about it. Excited to be staying here for a couple weeks. Gonna see how it goes, and then after that, heading to another special place, and I'll be glad to show you guys around out there as well. But let me actually turn off some of these lights. Okay, and yeah, so now I'm actually gonna explore. I hope to shoot more videos. You know, it's about how I feel, because I get a little lazy sometimes, especially when it comes to shooting videos. But look at this bird. I knew there were some birds coming over here. Take out, buddy. You're the wrong part of town, buddy. Yeah, I don't know if y'all can see him.
anyways, yeah, so hopefully I'm hoping to be able to record a lot more. I'm actually now about to go out and visit a little bit, so hopefully there I can shoot a little bit, give you guys a little bit of the kind of perspective of how everything is and things like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. At least y'all get to see what my apartment looks like. Hopefully I release this video before I leave, and then that way kind of get the ball rolling. And if you guys want to see more, or what you just let me know what you want to see essentially of Casablanca. I'll try to go check it out. And I'm actually, give me some ideas of what other cities I should visit. I'm probably thinking about on the weekends going to actually check out and visit other cities nearby. So let me know what other cities that I should check out, and then we're gonna, we'll go that route. All right. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you at the next one. Peace.
And that was my Airbnb, guys. So if you like this type of content, I'll be shooting a lot more of this. I'm planning on shooting it, or I have been pretty much shooting it at every location that I go. If this is your first time watching, I pretty much go spend a month at a time in different locations. And this is for Casablanca, but I've done this in Mexico and Colombia and Togo, many other places. So be sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos. Now let's talk about the food. So I did get a chance to actually try some of the street food out there. They have this thing called imsimin, and it's kind of like, it's almost like a pancake, but a little thicker. And it is typically eaten for breakfast. So basically you can go out on the street and you'll see people selling it at stands, and all you do is you order it and they'll pretty much either give it to you plain, and you can eat it like that with like a coffee or tea, or you can have them actually put a chocolate in there, which is kind of like a Nutella, think like Nutella type spread that they put in there. So that was really dope. On top of that, I also had this thing, it was called like a snail soup or something that is served at food stalls around the city. I saw it especially right along the coast where they have like kind of their boardwalk, and I actually have some clips. I'll run some of the clips so you can kind of take a look at it and kind of see me trying it out and everything as well.
Say what's up to the fans.
Salam alaikum, kidayri.
Oh, look. She hitting y'all with the Darisha. What do you call this again?
Brewa.
Brewa. Let's see. It's good, it's good.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Oyster, no, shells. No, what is it? What is this again?
سميتو سمية تراديسيونال ديالها
Oyster. No?
دريجة
Bush.
ببوش
العربية حلزون.
لا ببوش حسن صافي.
In English?
In English. These are snail, no?
Oh, snail. Yeah, okay. I forgot the name in English. That's what I was like. Oyster? I said oyster, and I was like, okay. Snail. Okay, here we go. So I just take the whole thing out, huh?
Yeah, you have snail.
Oh my goodness. Like this?
Yeah.
Oh, he's right there.
You have to eat it all. Just take it also with your hand. It's okay.
Look, it's up. Here we go. I'm a little nervous. I can see him. He's looking at me. It's not bad. It's like tastes like chicken. It's good though. It's good.
And that was it for the street food. Next was also more local food, right? Instead of just eating out on the street, it was kind of like local restaurants where you would see more Moroccans actually going to eat. Now I found a really dope local spot not too far from my house. They had this dope tagine. So if you're not familiar with what tagine is, it pretty much what it is they take this like clay pot. It has a kind of like a cone type part above it. And so what typically happens is they take the whole contraption and you could just throw it in the oven, or you can make like a wood fire or coal fire, and then you just set it on top. And what ends up happening is they usually put like, they make like chicken, beef, whatever the case may be, and you put it in there with like some sauces and spices and everything. And what's really dope is what ends up happening is it starts, heating up and kind of boiling, but the steam stays in there. So it just kind of keeps circulating, and it makes the spices really get deep into all the food, which makes it really dope. And every time I ate this, the food was just so tender. You would see that like if I got the chicken version, the chicken would be so tender. Even the beef was quite tender as well. And so it's definitely a dish you have to try if you're in Morocco at all. And the great thing about this restaurant as well is they also made couscous on Fridays too. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get to try it, but couscous on Fridays is a huge thing in Morocco. It's kind of like the Fridays whenever the whole family comes together and y'all make a big dish of couscous and everyone kind of eats together. So I didn't get a chance to try it at that restaurant, but they do have that, and it's something that you can find at a bunch of different restaurants, not just this specific one that I was at, but you'll see that there'll be restaurants that only sell couscous on Fridays, which is really dope. Now, aside from that, I did actually go to another restaurant with a friend of mine. I actually went to a vegan spot. Now, I'm the type of person I typically only eat meals with meat, so I never have really gone to, I've been to a few kind of vegan places. I got like vegan tacos in Mexico before, but this was the first time where I sat down at a vegan restaurant and everything was bomb. Like this was some of the best food I've had in general. Like even regular food, they were both pretty good, right? I got a few different dishes. I actually didn't record the first dish that I had. I think I have a video of maybe the dessert, but it was definitely a good spot as well. And I'm sure whenever I get back to Casablanca, I'll be eating there again too. Now, aside from that, what also I used was the Glovo app. It's pretty much think like Uber Eats. And I used it whenever I was working really hard. If I was like having like intense work and I didn't really want to leave my place, I would just order off of this Glovo app and then someone on a motorcycle would just come and drop the food off at my house. Now, the meals were typically going to be around $10. I did see sometimes it could dip to like 7 or 8 depending on like what kind of restaurant that you're ordering from. But in general, I would spend around $10. Now let's touch on the transportation. Now, first off, Uber was previously in Casablanca. I think it is in other cities, but in Casablanca specifically, it wasn't working there anymore. Now, the whole reason behind this is pretty much the way everyone was explaining it to me was Uber kind of got ran out of town. Whenever they started the Uber app, all the Uber drivers were getting harassed by taxi drivers. And now there's kind of like this beef between the taxi drivers and the Uber or the new Uber drivers. And they have an app, it's pretty much called Yalla. Yalla means pretty much let's go in Darija, which is Moroccan Arabic. And so that's kind of the app that people are using instead of Uber. And I think Uber even bought into Yalla, the company Yalla, and now they're kind of like part owners of it. Yalla pretty much works the same way as Uber. Is just, the drivers, they get, because they're beefing with the taxi drivers, they really have, they try to avoid each other, right? Or I should say the Yalla drivers try to avoid the taxis. And so what happens is, the one driver explained to me, he pretty much said that like the people who are driving Yalla and the taxi drivers, they each have their own WhatsApp groups. WhatsApp is kind of like a messaging, it's just kind of like a text messaging, but it's more used outside of America. And pretty much what happens is, they have these messaging groups, and if they see like, for example, someone who's using the Yalla app, like the actual driver pick somebody up, then they message all the taxis, and the taxis will try to come and pretty much harass the Yalla driver and even try to fight him to a certain point. So you'll see those guys that will be kind of sketchy. For example, if I ordered a ride, they might call me and say, hey, are you in front of this restaurant? I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm at. They're like, okay, do you see any taxis around? And then they have me looking around. It's like this sketchy situation, like I'm trying to pick up drugs or something. Look around. Is there what's around you, this, that, and the other? So that's kind of what the vibe was. And sometimes I remember one time one guy had me walk down. He told me to walk a block because he was like, you're right in front of where all the taxis meet up or something. So they get a little paranoid with it. But nonetheless, the app works pretty well. I will say that it was pretty cheap. I took both Yalla, which the great thing about that is you can kind of order rides and know that they're going to come. But taxis are also great too, because the taxis are kind of like, as soon as I get out on the street, I know I'm going to see a taxi. Instead of me having to order and wait 5 minutes for Yalla or Uber to show up, I can just hop into a taxi. Now, both of them are extremely cheap. I was typically paying for taxis and Yalla around $1 to $4 max, depending on where I was going. Now, I do think that the fact that I had a pretty central location made this quite affordable, and that was probably part of what played into it. In fact, I even ended up walking to a lot of the places that I wanted to go to. So I was able to kind of walk to neighborhoods near me that had attractions, as well as just, even just for exercise. I had a really big park by my house. It was, I think it was called the Arab League Park, which is a really nice park that they have there, and I was able to check that out as well. Now, I did actually ride the tram one time. They have for public transportation. I think they have buses. I didn't get to check it out, but they have a really great tram line that runs all the way to the train station. The train station that you can use to go to other cities. So I actually took the tram after I came back from another city. I don't remember the exact price, but it was something really cheap. It was probably like 50 cents or 30 cents per ride. Now, when it comes to excursions, I actually got to go to a few different cities, which was really dope. Typically people don't think much of Casablanca. They actually usually try to skip Casablanca, but it worked out perfectly for me because it was I was able to more laser focus. There's things to do in Casablanca, but I think it's just not as touristy as, like the Marrakeshes, Tangiers, so on. People typically avoid it. But for me, it was great because I would work and I was kind of in the middle of the other two big cities. One, for example, was Marrakesh. I actually was able to go to Marrakesh. I ended up taking the train and the city was amazing. I love the city. They had like this square this huge square that was really dope where you see people kind of doing, you see different performers out there. They even have like a snake charmer guy out there too. It's like this really big square where you can order even food out there. There's like stands that are selling food, smoothies, milkshakes, whatever the case may be. And so that was pretty cool. The great thing too was it only took me about, I want to say it was like 2.5 hours to get out there. So I took the train from Casablanca straight to Marrakesh. And then once I got there, I just took a taxi to my place. I chilled there for the weekend. I think I did a couple days. And then I headed back on train the same way. So it was a really smooth process, really easy to travel, especially to the bigger cities whenever you are in Morocco. The other city I went to was Tangier. Now Tangier is literally right on the coast. It's along the coast, and it's actually, you can literally see Europe from Tangier. So I could see, I want to say it was Spain. I could see Spain literally right across the water, and that was really dope. So I ended up taking the high-speed train, which it's actually further from Casablanca. It's further than Marrakesh, but because of the high-speed train, it actually takes less time. So it ended up taking me 2 hours to get there. Now, it was really dope because they kind of have a mix of French, Spanish, and Moroccan Arabic, which is Darija. They kind of speak all three of them, right? So you'll meet some Moroccans that speak Spanish, some Moroccans that speak French, and then obviously all Moroccans are going to be speaking, or majority of them will be speaking Darija or Arabic, as well as they have some other languages. I think Berber was the language as well. Now, what did I wish I would have been able to do? I wish I would have been able to visit a smaller city. I wanted to visit Rabat, which is actually super close to Casablanca, but I didn't get a chance to do that either. So those are two things that I know I'm going to come back to Morocco soon. So those are two things that I hope to actually get to do next time in the future. Actually, it's crazy because the reason why I went to Morocco was because that's one of the cities I thought about moving to. And so it was great to see the vibe there, and it was a good experience. And it might be a place that I end up coming back to and spending 3 months or even 6 months and just kind of chilling out there and getting work done. So in terms of final thoughts, it was a super dope city. I love that it was kind of in the middle of two more popular cities, the Marrakesh and Tangier. So it worked out perfectly for me. I think sometimes people forget that I still gotta work. Lots of people were kind of asking me why I didn't choose to go to one of those other cities instead. But like I mentioned, guys, my setup was perfect because I was in between both of them. So Casablanca was also a lot calmer, and the access was, uncomparable. You won't be able to get that access in other places. Now, this was my first experience in a Muslim country. I haven't been to any other Muslim countries, but I do want to say I enjoyed it. I'm a Christian, so it makes you get closer to your faith, especially because they pray 5 times a day. And even when you're watching like regular television, 5 times a day, it'll kind of have like almost like, think like a commercial, but it's literally like this message pretty much telling you, oh, it's time to pray. And it'll have like the song will come on for a little bit or someone praying, and then it'll go back to the TV again. So, it kind of makes you get closer to your faith too, right? It's kind of makes you want to pray yourself. So definitely it was a dope experience. First time in a Muslim country, but it was a good first experience. So definitely we'll be back. Now, hopefully you enjoyed this, guys. Be sure to check out the rest of my travel playlist as well. I'll link to it here. From me, the playlist is pretty much me going and spending a month in different locations at a time. So I've gone all over to different places. I've been in Spain. I've done Casablanca, obviously. I was in Togo, which is also in West Africa. I've been to Colombia, Argentina, so on and so forth. So be sure to check out my other videos so you can see all the other locations that I've been to as well. Now, hopefully you enjoyed it, guys. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace.